deliciousness, sweet and juicy listener, you have arrived, darlings, to the esteemed Pod Sound School, the podcaster's resource to achieving killer audio and expanding your brand and reaching a bigger crowd. Today is all about signal flow, and you know, I only have two kinds of days, happy and hysterically happy.
Welcome back, Podpreneurs. I'm Studio Steve, and I'm excited to get into some fun learning with you today all about audio signal flow. Signal flow is one of the fundamental concepts that audio engineers will learn in the studio or from school. The reason it's fundamental is because having a clear understanding of it allows audio engineers to be able to work in different environments, different studios, live venues, etc., and with different equipment efficiently. Understanding signal flow gives them the ability to troubleshoot, and perhaps most importantly, it gives them control and intention over their mixes. An audio engineer or producer needs to know where the audio source is coming from and where it's going. But why is this important to a podcaster? Well, because whether you realize it or not, as a podcaster, you too are an audio engineer. You produce audio. You capture vibrations of voices in the air, transform them into electrical signal using a microphone, and send that signal on a pathway to a destination. Popular consumer audio editing software programs, or apps that we use, are continuously attempting to make this process more user-friendly, efficient, and easy to use for the mass consumer, so that the consumer can quickly create recordings and share them. This is wonderful for consumers because they have different intentions with their audio recordings than an audio professional does. But as a podcaster, you are a step above a consumer. You are an audio professional. The output of your product is a reflection of your expertise in the field. So even though topics like signal flow might give you the same feeling sitting through a boring class in school gave you, learning about it and conceptualizing it is fundamental in your craft. Even if you're working with a producer and an editor on your podcast, understanding audio basics will help you to more efficiently communicate with your team and will contribute to the overall quality of your podcast. So on this quick episode, I'm going to define some terms and break down signal flow in a way that's hopefully both informative and fun. I'm keeping this episode quick and, of course, supplementing it with a fun video on YouTube that will really help in conceptualizing this. So lend me those beautiful ears for a couple more minutes and then go check out the audio signal flow episode on our YouTube channel. The link is in the description, and you can always find our videos on our website at podsoundschool.com. Our videos always post 2 days after our podcast episodes on Wednesday, and 2 days after that on Fridays, we post the expanded and written format for all you readers out there on our blog page, podsoundschool.com/blog. Okay, so let's dive into it.
Signal flow. Now let's see if we got the facts straight.
Audio production is really all about delivering a message. It's about communication. The advancements of audio production throughout history have all been driven by the desire to reproduce audio and send it over distances to intended listeners. The history of these technologies is crazy. I mean, what's up with radio waves? You're telling me there's these frequencies flying around above my head that are carrying countless messages from different broadcast stations? And now the internet? What? Countless satellites swirling outside our atmosphere, transmitting signal to our many devices 24 hours a day. Luckily for us, it really isn't necessary to understand all the science behind how our devices work. We don't need to understand how a computer works to be able to create impressive Word documents, graphics, videos, audio files, etc. So then why do we need to understand the science of audio, or microphones, or DA converters? Isn't there just a podcast setting on my computer that I can turn on? Actually, in many apps nowadays, there is. And there is a ton of science that we don't need to understand. But signal flow is less a science and more just a practice. It's about having a mental or even physical map of how your audio signal is routed. It's about keeping things organized. It's about making your workflow more efficient, and it's about delivering your message in the proper format for the digital internet broadcast stations that will be delivering your show to your intended listener. It becomes increasingly important to keep track of your signal as you start implementing more plugins and effects, and as you mix your signal with other sources, like your co-host signal and your background music, your sound bites, intro and outro recordings, etc. So let's define some terms and walk through the basic path our signal has to take on its journey. First off, let's talk about mono versus stereo. For many years after audio production began, it was delivered to us in mono, or in one channel. Have you seen those sweet vintage record players with the big horn coming out of them? That's a mono, or single channel, kind of like our vocal cords that would spew the sound into the air. As things progressed, audio professionals were always looking for ways to more accurately reproduce the sound and also to provide a more visceral and larger-than-life experience for the listener. So the single channel turned into two channels, or dual channels, linked together like our ears and spread out from each other to engross us more into the recordings. These stereo channels are now the custom on all of our many devices. Our laptops, our smartphones, smart TVs, headphones, earbuds, all have two speakers, the left and the right, or LR. In recording, this channel will have different names: LR, master channel, or stereo bus. These all refer to the same thing:
The final destination
for the signal. So our voice is the origin of the signal, and the LR, the stereo bus, the master channel, is the final destination. When you export a file from your audio editing software, it is exported from this output. So everything we do inside of our virtual mixers and DAWs and audio editing softwares all eventually lead to the same place: the LR. MP3 files, WAV files are all stereo files with two tracks configured to be played on all of our devices. So, if our voice is the origin of the audio signal and the LR or stereo channel is the destination, then all of the stops and pathways in between is the flow of the signal. Next episode, we're going to talk about the channel strip, which is the main tool used to route and manipulate our signal before sending it to the master channel. So, for this episode, let's walk with the signal up until that point. So, after our voice, the first and obvious stop is the microphone. The microphone transforms our voice into an electrical signal that can now be ran through an audio cable. The audio cable gets plugged into a preamp, which boosts the signal. Then it is routed into a DA converter, where it becomes digital. Then it is sent through a digital cable, like a FireWire or Thunderbolt, and into our computer. From here, it winds up at the beginning of a very fun journey where anything can happen. It winds up at the input of the channel strip. And that's enough for today, Podskis. Next time, we'll continue with the signal and break down our main tool as audio professionals, the channel strip. Hopefully you found this chat informative, and if you are at all frustrated or confused by this info, make sure to check out our YouTube channel and our blog. Also, come join us at our Facebook group, Podcasting for Bosses. It's a group focused on creating community, building your network, and growing your knowledge in all things surrounding podcasting and entrepreneurship. I do a Wednesday Wisdom live video there, where we chat about struggles that the group is having or fun weekly topics. It's a great resource, so definitely come join us over there. Also, if you're in the preliminary stages of planning your podcast, make sure to come pick up our podcast Jumpstart freebie at our website, podsoundschool.com. The links to all these free resources are in the description below. And there you go, pod people. Happy casting.
There you have it, guys and gals. Tune in next week for the channel strip episode. If you are enjoying these episodes, our YouTube channel, blog, and other free resources, come give us some love at our Overachievers Club at Patreon, and help us keep providing free content. Check those links below, doggies.
Pleasant and valuable learning
experiences. Interesting work for which learners see a purpose. provides its own